Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shalise, and I have three children. I have five grandkids. I'm an alumni from Shields for Family with 12 years clean, and I am a relative caregiver for my grandson. And so, the barriers that I'm having as being a relative caregiver is first, I'm his grandmother, and I have four other grandkids. So, ways that you would discipline your grandkids with popping them if they do something wrong or running the streets, that's not considered child abuse. But with my grandson that I'm a relative caregiver for, it's different to where I can't discipline him. And uh, barriers where if he choose to run out the house and I force him to come back in, that's a barrier too. He's my grandchild, and if he get hurt, I'm responsible. But under DCFS laws or resource family approval, you can't force a child to be somewhere they don't want to be. So those are barriers for me. Um, Also, when it comes to his mental health, I've been in and out of my grandson's life all his life. And so for the first 2 years, he was with his dad, which is my son. And then he go back to mom, dad and mom, back and forth. My son went to prison, and so he spent the majority of his 3 to 5 with his mother. And so I would see him on the weekends, and I didn't notice nothing. He wouldn't tell me anything. I knew he was fully potty trained when he was 3 years old. Um, he could tell us if something is going on, but I didn't know that he was being abused. I didn't see it. And so times that I questioned certain things about my grandson as far as, scratches or whatever was on him, they'd give me an answer. Well, he failed, he did this, he did that. So still I didn't know that he was being abused in no type of way. So at the age of 5, we found out that he was being physically abused. And so they placed him with his dad, which is my son. And my son was living with me at the time. 2 months after my grandson was placed with his dad, dad went to jail. So for me being a parent partner with DCFS for 7 years, I learned a lot of knowledge that I needed to utilize in order to keep my grandson. So when my son went to prison, I told him to create a safety plan, which means that my grandson can stay with me because I had a previous case before. So I knew it was going to be a lot of barriers there. So by me having the little knowledge that I did have, my son was able to create that safety plan. So my grandson was with me. So from the age of 5 till present, he's never been in school. He's never had no early childhood education, no child care, no anything. So once he was detained from mom and placed with us, and I had to put him in school, we noticed all these behaviors. And so the school was calling me like, he starts school at 8 o'clock. I was getting called at 9 o'clock, come get him. And I didn't understand why. Why I have to come get him? But his behaviors were so bad. And the way that they was describing the behaviors to me, I didn't see those behaviors at home. So once he was placed, he had a court dated in March of 2015. Once he went to court and seen the abusers, that's when he just really, his behaviors escalated inside the children's court. Right then and there, they ordered services, mental health services. So I had a team in the beginning. I had a full team, mental health, a therapist, a parent partner, a one-on-one. And so we went through a whole lot because of a lot of schools in Compton didn't have, they had a nurse, but they didn't have a mental health nurse or a clinician that can notice these things. So for first kindergarten year, he was literally kicked out of school, and I didn't know what to do. I have a job, I got this baby. My whole life has changed, so I'm constantly calling off work, going to get my grandson. I'm calling for services like, what other services do you have for me? Is there a special child care for a child that have behavior issues? You know, the more I was asking for services, it was hard to get, and I just didn't understand. If this child is placed with me, then where are the services that goes with him? Because I'm new to this. I'm not new to being his granny, but I'm new to the mental health behaviors. And so with all of that, I had to advocate. I asked a lot of questions. I found out about how to request the IEP. And when I request that IEP, that led me to the educational board, which led me to an attorney to fight for Dejan for educational rights, for him to be so that he can get the best education that he needed based on his behaviors. We went through one-on-ones. First grade year was hard. They didn't have a non-public school in the city of Compton. So we was battling with him being in public school, but he couldn't participate. His behaviors was just overwhelming for the students and for the staff. So we fought and we fought the education, and they finally supported us, and we got him into a non-public school. But it's way in Orange County. I live in Compton. So the school boards, they accommodated us with transportation and everything. Now, with Dejan and his behaviors, they diagnosed him with post-stress trauma disorder and disruptive behaviors. So at the age of 5, they prescribed him some medication called Risperidone. And he has some enuresis and encopresis problems at the age of 5. So it kind of helped us out, it had him sleeping very well, but his behaviors will still act out in school. He will only take the medication at nighttime. So now we're in the first grade, the behaviors are still the same, but the enuresis and encopresis got better. Here we go into the second grade, we finally get him into non-public school. He has a one-on-one, but the behaviors are still there. We have full supportive service, so they was at my house at least 4 times out the month. We having CFTs and just constant meetings with my grandson. And I'm looking for this miracle to happen. After 3 years we've been in therapy and all his services, I wanted to see the change in his behaviors. And the change was home. He didn't act the same way at home. He was not disrespectful to me. He didn't try to harm his cousins or anybody, but at the school site, he was very disrespectful, violent, He had to be restrained numerous of times. From first grade to second grade to third grade, he has a history of a really bad child, but at home it was different. So this year of 2018, August of 2018, I'm assuming he graduated from a full supportive service. So they're supposed to refer me to another full supportive service based on the extent of his mental health. Well, the referral didn't go through properly. They just referred me to another hospital, which is a therapist and a psychiatrist. So I'm telling the psychiatrist the behaviors that's still going on in school. So the psychiatrist prescribed some medication. I'm not a doctor. When the first psychiatrist prescribed the medication for Dejan, I gave it to him as prescribed. I noticed the weight gains, but the behaviors were still there. So now he's 8 years old. We transferred to another one. I'm describing the behaviors again. And so this psychiatrist prescribed my grandson 51 milligrams of psychotropic meds when he was only on 2 milligrams of psychotropic meds. So when the doctor explained to me what this medication was for, I said, okay, I'll try it. He said, if there's any side effects, let me know. So on August 29th, he started school, so we started the medication. All the medication that they gave him, he took in the mornings. He didn't take no more medication at night. So from August 29th to September 4th, he had a psychotic outbreak. And it was really like a totally different kid. So again, by me having the knowledge that I have as being a parent partner, and I sat on the board of the ERDD, and I did different trainings and meetings, I knew that this was a time I needed to advocate, because the medicine caused him to act a certain way where he became violent towards me. He made threats towards me. And when I made the phone call for protection, which is mental health pet team and 911, I end up getting investigated at the same time. So that's where I say the barriers are at. I'm the grandmother, and I'm doing the right thing by calling you guys when these situations occur. But then on the other hand, they figure like, you can't deal with him. Why are you constantly calling? Okay, well, he just started this new medication, and these are really the side effects. And I'm trying to tell you that these are the side effects, so can we stop this medication? Another barrier is I have the right to sign for medication. But once I noticed the side effects, I couldn't stop the medication. So that was a barrier. I have education and physician rights. But and even though I'm not his legal guardian at this time, he lives with me. No mom or dad ever have They never played a part in his mental health services. So when the medication triggered him like it did, I had to go through a whole lot. I'm talking about calling off for work, calling attorneys, asking them to walk these papers on, signing a JV-19, refusing the medication, asking the clinic, please don't give him the medication. They notice these behaviors. He has a history already. So every doctor, every therapist, they know everything. I make sure everybody knows everything. I didn't wait for a referral to get there. I'm telling you what this doctor has done and so on. And so no one really paid attention to the medication. And then when I finally was able to see the judge and explain what I was trying to get them to do, she ordered to stop the medication while he was in a hospital. And they detoxed him. So when they detoxed him, he was able to come home. He was hospitalized from September 4th to September 20th. And so he went through a really phase to where when he came back home, he was very apologetic to me. He wanted to make sure that I was okay with him being home with me. And I had to let him know, you're my grandson. I'm not scared of you. I love you. And that it wasn't you, it was the medication. So now we're better, and it takes there is service out there in the community. And I live in a community SPA 6 area. And it's hard out there. And if I didn't know what I knew, I wouldn't have knew how to advocate. So I do know, and I'm here to educate all the parents that's out there. I don't have a problem with going to a school or seeing you on a bus stop, or you just ask, if you just ask for, hey, do you know where I can get to the doctor at? Sure, I'll let you know. Or, hey, my baby is sick, or, I noticed my baby's not developed. I got a resource for you. So it comes natural to give back. Being a parent, going through your struggles and coming out of it, it is a community resource to give back, because each one teach one. I've been where you are. I've been where Abraham is. And he can look at me and know that he can come out of that. And then that other parent or caregiver who has a mental health child, it's okay to advocate and know that you're doing the right thing. So if DCFS do come to your life and want to question you, we don't have nothing to hide or be scared of. We're doing the best we can do as a caregiver and as a foster parent. So those are my barriers, and I'm really grateful to be here, and I hope that, with us being on this panel, that it can be a change. And let's go back to RFA and find out what can we do better as far as being a relative and a foster parent at the same time. Thank you.